The story is uh, briefly that since I was treating patients without drugs using frequency detoxification, intravenous and oral nutrition, neurobiofeedback, et cetera, so people would come to me for more and more and more broadly placed diagnoses because I am trained as a psychiatrist, child, adolescent, and adult psychiatrist, and I am trained in psychiatry and neurology. Well, people would come to me with diseases that had nothing to do with psychiatry or neurology in the schema that we use, saying, I've been told that there's no hope. The doctor said to go home and die, or I've been told I have to live with the pain, or there's nothing more that can be done for me. Can you help? And my answer would be, I don't know, but we'll try. And generally, yes, the incurable disease was cured, the intractable pain was relieved, and so on. So desperate people have desperate friends, and they started telling each other, and people started coming to my office from around the world. One of those people was a head of state, a woman who walks around with a crown on her head at state events in her state. And she came to me for a physical problem. And one day she said to me, it's almost time for the great culling to begin. And I had never heard of the great culling. I said, what are you talking about? And she explained that she was talking about the culling of the useless eaters. Now, in 2002, that was a phrase I had never heard. And I said, what's a useless eater? She said, not what, my dear, but who? I said, okay, who's a useless eater? She said, those people who are consuming our non-renewable resources. And I said, did it ever occur to you that you're consuming their non-renewable resources? And she said, oh, that's an interesting idea. Well, anyway, and she dismissed that. I said, so how many of these useless eaters are you planning on culling? And she said, 90%. And I said, 90% of what? And she said, the total world population. And I said, whoa. The enormous wealth that you have, and this was one of the wealthiest people in the world who, by the way, did not pay her bill. None of the elites paid their bills.
Really?
All of the regular people paid their bills. So I went to the procedure of charging the elites in advance in cash for their treatment that day. Everybody else I trusted. Anyway, I said, your enormous wealth is based on selling immense amounts of shit to vast numbers of people. If you don't have vast numbers of people to sell your immense amounts of shit to, how are you going to maintain your enormous wealth? And she said, the mercantile era that began in the 14th century with the Hanseatic League in Germany is coming to an end. We are coming to the beginning of the neo-feudal era. There will be us, the neo-aristocrats at the top, surrounded by our servants and servitors, and below them, our technicians. Everyone else is superfluous. And Yuval Harari has made the same point most recently, has he not? Everyone who gets in the way will be eliminated. And everyone who is not part of that pyramid is in the way. So she left, and I was not sure whether she was just batshit crazy and I had missed it because I was dealing with a physical thing, not evaluating her psychiatrically, or whether she had given me a great clue. And of course, the answer is both. She was batshit crazy. She was raised to be a psychopath. She is a psychopath. And at the same time, she gave me a tunnel that I had to burrow down into. I did a great deal of research. I read their documents. I learned about the Fabian socialists. That's what they were called around the turn of the 20th century. We call them globalists. They're the same evil people. I learned that George Orwell wrote 1984 as a prescription of what was to come. I learned that Aldous Huxley wrote Brave New World as a blueprint for what was to come. They want our kids. You and I, they figure, might protest, but we can be easily eliminated by attrition or by extermination. They can get rid of us. But the slaves, the new ones, they want those to be docile. They want them not to reproduce. They want them to believe anything that they're told, and they want them to accept the conditions. What are the conditions? They will live in 16 square meters of space in 10-minute cities, urban concentration camps. They will eat what they're told to eat. You will eat the bugs. They will think what they're told to think. They will do what they're told to do, and they will question nothing. They will certainly never affiliate with one another and bond. Now let's go back to my understanding as a child psychiatrist. The way I understand humanity is that the most fundamental and basic reality that defines us and drives us and elevates us to the divine is love. And that is learned starting in the womb between mother and child, chemically, emotionally, through heartbeat to heartbeat, a duet of the maternal and fetal heartbeat, which is the most profound music that we will ever hear. And by the way, can be used clinically. That's another story entirely. WHO, that's the World Holocaust Organization in my view. WHO has created a way to traumatize every child on the planet. Back to me as a child psychiatrist. Sexual stimulation and sexual predation at an age, at a developmental level before a child can handle that experience is traumatizing. They have created the comprehensive sexuality educational curriculum to traumatize every child. So if you tell children that gender is fluid and they can be anything they want, and if you tell children that, and if you tell parents and teachers and children that it is required that children develop lust by the age of 4, really? Anybody here have a 4-year-old? Anybody here think it's normal for a child to develop lust by the age of 4? That's one of the new norms. Lust by the age of 4. Parents are supposed to teach children about their own sexuality. What that means is parents are supposed to molest children, and it's supposed to be normalized. Children, according to these monsters, have the right, even human rights have been perverted by these people. Children have the right to a sexual partner, and, quote, sexual activity must begin as early as possible. Really, sexual activity must begin as early as possible. 6-year-olds in this curriculum are given a checklist to determine whether they want to have sex with a particular person. Stop for a moment. Do you want your 6-year-old to have sex with anybody? Do you want anybody to have sex with your 6-year-old? The answer should be, if you're a normal human being, no, and hell no. Here's a list of things that are on that checklist. I'm quoting. 1, do I want to be with that person? Well, children want to be with people all the time. That doesn't mean they should be having sex with them. 2, do I want to hold hands with that person? What? Do I want to hold hands with that person? 3, do I like that person? Well, now we've got 3 yeses. I like this person. I want to hold hands with them and I want to be with them. Great. And do I want to have anal sex with this person? This is on a 6-year-old's checklist. Do I want to have oral sex with this person? Do I want to have vaginal sex with this person, genital sex with this person? Now, how does a 3-year-old know about, a 6-year-old, I'm sorry, know about oral sex? Well, we have a video of a teacher in a classroom following this curriculum, instructing a little girl while the children are standing around in the finer points of cunnilingus on a little boy. This is part of their sexual trauma. Everyone gets traumatized. Their books in a picture book for toddlers. See, now we're reading this picture book together, and it says that doctors are guessing when they assign the gender of a baby. No, folks, doctors are not guessing. Doctors don't assign gender. Doctors identify gender because it's not fluid. Oh, by the age of 6, children should begin becoming accomplished in the use of online pornography. And by the age of 9, they should be completely competent in the use of online pornography. Excuse me, what is the use of online pornography for a child? Nothing, in my view. But then what do I know? I'm just a child and adolescent psychiatrist, and I understand sexualization, trauma. This is designed to, according to the Rutgers Foundation, which is one of the organizations that the World Health Organization has drawn heavily on in creating these documents and guidelines, children who are freed from the bonds of the family. That means parents have no place in this. Children have absolute right to make all of their own determinations sexually in terms of their gender, what they do with their body from basically birth, and parents have nothing to say. Children who are freed from the bonds of the slavery bonds of the family are then less likely to reproduce. On March 8th of this year, the United Nations issued a judicial review document, a guideline for every legislator, prosecutor, lawyer, and judge in the world. Why would a peacekeeping organization feel the need to issue a judicial guidelines? I don't know, got me. But anyway, they did. And one of the things that it says is that worldwide, the recommendation is to decriminalize sexual activity between anybody. That means normalize pedophilia. Since, according to WHO, quote, sexual activity must begin as early as possible, and quote, every child has the right to a sexual partner. And since in the judicial review, consent is defined as present everywhere for everything at every moment, it means if somebody says to a 3-year-old, touch me here and I'll give you a piece of candy, and the 3-year-old, with all the wisdom and judgment that a 3-year-old has, says, okay, that's not a criminal act. Conversely, if somebody says, let me touch you there and I'll give you a piece of candy, and the 3-year-old says, okay, that's also not a criminal act. So we have the UN, the Imperium, if you will, and the Death Star, the WHO, which is coming over the horizon to kill us on the orders of the Imperium, working together to create insanity, to create a level of untruth that is meant to confuse, to conflict, and to paralyze any kind of opposition. Must say to the Knesset, to the Minister of Health, to the Prime Minister, don't you dare. Not only don't you touch my children, don't you touch my society, don't you touch my body, don't you confine me in 10-minute cities, in concentration camps, in urban dog kennels. No, no, this is not happening. My country leaves WHO. Now, Prevent Genocide 2030 is an international site. If you would like to work with us, all of the information there, of course, is available for everyone. You can translate anything you like. What's important is you must, to save humanity, literally to save humanity, you must get your country out of WHO. There's no temporizing with these monsters. You don't negotiate with terrorists. These people are beyond terrorists, and they have given themselves authority and sheen and shine and luster because they have more money than God and because they will lie about anything. These are evil beings who have created a program of ultimate destruction and enslavement. If the parents of Israel, if the grandparents of Israel, if the neighbors of Israel don't care about what they're doing to their children, then they've already laid down and said, kill me now.